All right, good morning, everyone. We are live today. We have a great group of people on. We got Matt, Ariel, and hopefully Ned pops in, but he's supposed to be here, but maybe dealing with some hurricane stuff. But good morning, everyone.
Good
Morning, everyone.
morning.
Yeah, so this topic was brought to me by Ariel. I think this is a great topic to bring up with what's going on in the world right now, real estate. But I think this is a great way to get into it and maybe look find some deals out there. But Ariel, why don't you kind of touch on the topic you want to talk about today?
Yeah, so today I want to talk a little bit about alternative leads lists. So thinking a little bit outside the box of how do we help homeowners in a situation of potential distress without going through, say, the regular leads lists that a lot of people market towards, but more so tapping into like what's happening today in the economy. And one of the things that's been happening is a lot of return to office mandates. So as a little bit of a background, back in 2020, when the world kind of shut down for a bit, corporate employees also went to remote work. So, meaning that they didn't have to go into the offices and they were working behind a desk. And this seemed at first to be kind of like a trial and like, will this actually work? Because you're not able to collaborate in person. Will things actually get done? And in fact, a lot of people even started to work more because there wasn't that distraction of having to commute in and out, where they actually started a little bit earlier, work more intense periods where they didn't have someone tapping them on the shoulder and talking about their weekend, and having a lot of productive time periods. So with that, return to office mandates started to happen probably around like 2021, 2022, depending on where you were. And it was about like 2 times, maybe 3 times back into the office. But now we're seeing 5 days back to the office, with Amazon being one of the leaders here in the space mandating it, which when you think about it, if someone's saying return to the office 5 days a week, it's not because of collaboration. It's likely because they want to do layoffs, but it looks better in the news to be able to say, hey, return to the office and hopefully, 10% of staff leaves versus making a major layoff.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
think
with
this is a
that,
great, yeah,
yeah, we'd love
because
to pause
like
there and
me
just
and
kind of hear
Matt,
your input.
yeah, because me and Matt, this doesn't affect us as much like a return to work. Because Matt being in the Coast Guard, me being a responder, we didn't have remote work. So this is interesting for us to look at as far as the data and how people are using this to look for real estate. But I want to, before we move on, Ariel, I saw you post something on LinkedIn also, right? Kind of a little, I don't
Yeah.
know if you would say a rant or the commute and people having to deal with going into the office, right?
Yeah, so I could share my screen and go into it a bit. But the reason why I decided to kind of dive into this analysis was that I had someone in my network, he's an investor, and we were talking about some of his latest deals for creative finance, subject to when you take over someone's mortgage. And he said one of these workers wasn't Amazon, but another big tech,
Hmm.
and they had to return to office. But in 2022, they bought a newer home, maybe like 50 miles out, which a lot
Right.
of people did, right? It's like, if I had the flexibility to work from home, why live in a crowded city when you could have all the space, the backyard, and your family could have a really nice lifestyle? But now, return to office mandates, that individual put their house on the market and they couldn't go down on price cuts because they had very little equity in the home.
Sure.
So he was able to provide a win-win solution of, purchasing the property under subject to terms, and then them being able to leave and move closer again to the office. So I'm going to share my screen here actually, so I could show you a little bit of the
Heck yeah.
geeking out that I've done here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
No,
And
I
well,
think it's a great AI imagery there.
it's got to pique
All
the
right.
interest.
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm down to one monitor today since I've evacuated for the storm, but we will still pursue and continue. So here is one of the news articles that says Amazon tells employees to return to office 5 days a week. So this is happening. If Amazon's doing it, there's likely going to be a wave of other companies doing it too. And there's also probably a high likelihood that layoffs are coming. A lot of companies have started this trend. You could even go to a site like Hubble, for example, and see each of these companies what their return to office mandates look like, and then start to map out like how far are these commutes and who's possibly in a higher pain threshold than others. So after I talked to my investor friend who found a deal by, one of these employees, I thought, okay, how would I try to systematize this? How would I try to use data to replicate it? So I first went to LinkedIn and I thought, okay, well, Amazon has a lot of software engineers. What if I just tried to find their employees via LinkedIn? Which luckily having a very active LinkedIn account, I have the ability to like scrape LinkedIn without getting any issues with using a bot. So first, I have all this list of people who work for Amazon and they're in the DC area. Then, if you want to find where an individual lives, you can use skip tracing, which this is a very known thing to do, especially in the real estate space, to be able to get contact information like age, address, and phone number, which my boyfriend said was super creepy, but this is like literally what people do every single day in real estate.
Right.
Um, so took this data, you can use scrapers like say Apify to automatically get this, or you can use say like a VA to copy down names. But then the next thing you want to do is understand like how, is someone in a situation with low equity where they would actually need help to sell off market because on market probably is not a solution. You need to understand their mortgage as well as their property information. So using software like Batch Data, they have an API that you can get this data. And ultimately, in my little test that I did, I have a spreadsheet of a bunch of employees, uh, information on phone numbers, addresses, and then also their property information as well. But of course, we don't want to see things in a spreadsheet. That's boring. So put this into a dashboard to quickly like map out, say for that central office that's in Virginia, which is here in Arlington, trying to map like how far are employees commuting to this area. Like one of these addresses I just plugged in on a Tuesday at 8 a.m. is about an hour and 10 minutes commute, which doesn't sound horrible, but 2 hours a day in a car or on a bus or on a train is kind of a lot. And then doing that every single day, once there's an accident, that could turn into, 3 hours. So it does get fatiguing. So the idea here is that by kind of bridging all this data together, we could now, instead of looking for people who are in pre-foreclosure, which a lot of folks do, very used lists already, you can try to go and set an alternative route and say, in this case, I can filter just on the property owners who have low equity and start to see that some of them do live like pretty far from the office and start to maybe contact them. So this is a little bit of an overview of how you can take like a real world situation, start to bring data together, and start to analyze a new set of leads to potentially create a win-win situation.
Wow. Yeah, no, I think that's super, super insightful and definitely a new approach. And then kind of just like anecdotally, growing up in the Northern Virginia area, I was used to, because I was in Virginia, went to high school in DC. So even it was a 10 or 12 miles, but it was a 45-minute drive, right? And so, like you said, during COVID, people wanted to get out of the cities, have that nice home office, backyard, picket fence, the full 9 yards or whatever. And they moved outside the city. And then being in the DC area, I mean, you can live outside the Beltway, but if you're commuting into the office in the major cities, right, that's like you said, 2 hours minimum sometimes for a full work day. And it's definitely something to consider where you're really starting to make those decisions of like, is it worth it for me to be commuting out here, or do we need to kind of pick up and move the family? So
Yeah, Hyder said, great job, Ariel, for doing this, even though you're evacuating. So yeah, we thank you for showing up and showing this. But we got Dennis, we got Trade Better here, we got Hyder's here.
Oh.
So go check out actually Dennis too. Restream and not letting him log in.
Oh yeah, we got Ned in the queue.
Yeah, Ned. Oh, yeah, and then Dennis just closed on his first turnkey property with rent to retirement. So that's awesome. He's gonna come out with a video this weekend, so go check out his YouTube channel. Yeah, so Ariel, I saw. So is this gonna be featured with coffee closures now currently, or is it something in the works?
So we're not a lead generation company, but as a little bit of a preview, what we are planning to do is BYOL, bring your own list, to have the ability
Ah,
to upload any list. And I will be doing a webinar next week on like a little bit more in detail of the steps I took for someone to replicate it if they'd like. But if they wanted to have it kind of done for you, I will be doing it for a limited time, not forever though, because it is like a little bit of a process to put all the
Sure.
data together. But yeah, I want to just try to highlight the conversation of starting to look at alternative leads lists, right? Maybe it's not the return to office and the layoffs that are really prevalent in your area, but maybe, you know, really focusing on like what are pain points that my community is facing where they're maybe not, they don't show up on a list that I could still help and create a win-win scenario for as an investor to acquire a property, but for them to be able to, get something off their books that's a headache. So thinking outside the box, I think, is really necessary, especially for small investors at this stage to kind of compete against the larger ones.
do you see this like this affecting like short-term rentals or mid-term rentals, or is mainly like long-term rental investors that probably would be able to take advantage of these lead generations?
Probably long term, mostly. Um, it really would be dependent on the area. Like, yeah, probably long term. But then if there are folks who they moved and now they're going to go back into the city and they're going to kind of downsize all over again, that could be an opportunity to pay a little bit more and ask to like keep the property furnished and make that into a medium term rental if possible, since usually we see higher returns like across different areas for that.
Yeah. I know the Resi Club recently published some data where major cities, right, like in Austin, Tampa, that saw these influx of, um, buyers or investors for single family houses. Now that inventory is above pre-COVID levels. So the amount of equity is probably even smaller now with the price cuts starting to come down. So I feel like, all these lists, there's you could kind of take one from one and the other, kind of blend the two. And it really paints probably a more realistic scenario nowadays, right? When kind of data is kind of a leading or yeah, leading factor for how you make your decisions.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that could be a very relevant thing as well for the Tampa area. Like my partner, he works for JP Morgan
Mhm.
and they have the 3 days a week. A lot of folks move to the center part of Florida, like towns like Lakeland.
Mhm.
And they're saying that it's like an hour to an hour and a half commute now to go both ways. And if it goes to 5 days, they're like, I'm absolutely selling. Like there's no
Yeah.
doubt about it. So yeah, I think it's coming. And one of the interesting aspects too, like Amazon, there's a bunch of articles that their employees are rage applying right now. So applying to other places, but it's not 2021, 2022. Like those years, you could basically switch a job in 4 weeks because people were desperate to get people back to work. But now it's like a lot of companies aren't really hiring. And these like software engineer roles, as an example, like they can have anywhere between 300, 500, sometimes over 500 people apply to one single role. And usually these roles, they already know who they're probably going to select, but they just put it out there, online to kind of follow protocols. But you're going to see a lot of people have the pain point, try to exit and go to another job, but not be able to and say, you know what, I'm stuck. My next solution is just to try to sell my home and move closer.
Wow.
So Dennis says, kind of off subject, but have you seen that Myrtle Beach put a moratorium on long-term rentals near the beach? They're basically going the opposite of other cities that are favoring the short-term rentals. Huh. That is interesting.
That is,
These
yeah,
red states are
very,
cool. Yeah.
yeah. I think like an area right by the beach, a lot of that draw for the local commerce is probably tourism, right? And so to help kind of make that or that small economy kind of bring some life into it, right? It's not going to be your second time home buyer where they have a vacation house where they only come there maybe 2 3 times a year, right? It's going to be that constant inflow of short-term rental people weekend after weekend. um, so I could see why that maybe is a draw. It'd be interesting to see if there's any numbers behind why they made that decision, like population growth, um, businesses, whether they shut down, increase in business, all that jazz. But very interesting. A very opposite approach of major cities like a New Orleans, right?
Yeah, I think that's really smart for the city to do
I
that. I
also
would love to
saw
see the data as
interesting.
well, but I mean, yeah.
I saw an interesting thing
What were you saying, Mark?
on X about who do you think is going to be buying in Florida in the coming years? Like, is it just going to be wealthy people just paying cash for properties because insurance is going to be so difficult to get, or insurance companies are going to be leaving the area, so it's just going to be cash buyers only? It's an interesting article there someone was talking about. But yeah, insurance is going to be crazy down there.
Oh yeah, very, very crazy. Especially
That
like
might be the next lead
so
generation.
Yeah, insurance premiums, if they increase a certain percentage from year to year, you're like, oh, I don't know if that person is going to be wanting to foot the bill.
yeah, 100%. And a lot of people don't realize like it's not just the flooding. Like yes, you could be like off the coast and you don't have to worry about floods, but it's the wind as well. So like a lot of people have asphalt for their roofs, which that could only withstand like 70 miles per hour or so without shingles coming off.
Mhm.
Whereas like Florida at some point, I think we'll need to like mandate having those like metal roofs because those can withstand category fives. But these insurances, they're gonna, be out throughout the whole state of Florida having to fix or having to put out money for replacing some of these roofs.
Exactly. Yeah. So like the developers like Lennar, DR Horton, they're pretty much doing sort of a tenant grade rental, right? So the architectural asphalt style shingles versus those gold fortified roofs, which can withstand, like you said, Ariel, like those storms. Which it's just a matter of time. I feel during these hurricane seasons, with the water temperatures, how they're so hot in the Gulf, it's just a bad recipe for an inevitable storm to develop.
Yeah,
100%.
so Dennis said they said if the long-term rentals replace short-term, they would lose 1.5 to 2.5 million in tax revenue per year.
Follow the
And
money.
that's kind of what the pushback against like Maui. They were trying to ban the short-term rentals, and people are saying, "Oh, we're going to lose this much money and revenue." And a lot of these short-term rentals aren't really your traditional rentals, anyways. So it's not going to really help housing that much because these are like either luxury properties, or there's only so much people that can buy these type of homes, are there? So there's always pushback against it. But yeah, like you're saying, you got to follow the money. Yeah.
My other interesting point too is, I'm starting to see, even as a host, right? Like the Airbnb fees and the taxes, they are absolutely ridiculous. Where it's a no brainer when we have a great guest and they want to reach out to us, we kind of like divert them to kind of our direct booking website, contact, all that stuff. So for the tax revenue and the fees, I'd be interesting to see where some of these hosts and operators are trying to be creative and go through that direct booking route instead of using some of these, booking channels, because just the fees are a little excessive.
So how? Oh, sure. Yeah. Let's see here. Now you're asking me to do technical stuff, Ariel, while I'm doing this. Hold on. Let's see if this works.
Dennis, I didn't realize there were hosts that had direct booking links.
Yeah, so we use a property management software called Guesty for hosts, which integrates very well with a lot of booking platforms. So, um, something that you could do, right? So if I was looking for an Airbnb and I saw, that link, some hosts also they put that on Google, right? So like there's a Google direct booking link. So it depends on how they kind of market it. You can use Google, booking.com, etc. And then once you kind of capture that lead or an email, right? Kind of that opt in, then you could probably start pushing out some of that. And that's kind of what we do. It's not very, robust, but it's pretty simple. Then it works for, repeat guests that want to come back to the New Orleans area.
Yeah, that's excellent. And it
Yeah,
probably saves, yeah, some of
Eric
that fee from
figured
Airbnb.
it out.
Thank you.
I figured out how to put the
Yeah.
link there.
And not only short-term rental too, that has been successful for a medium-term rental as well. So yeah, kind of you can adopt that practice for whatever investment, I guess, vehicle that you do have, whether it's a short-term rental or medium-term rental.
Let's see. So another aspect of insurance that isn't talked about too often is that some areas put caps on increase in insurance premiums. So national underwriters increase premiums in other areas to compensate. Yeah, they'll get you somehow, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But like I said, that was, insurance. I don't know what you guys, but it was kind of an afterthought, I think, before a few years ago, right? It was kind of, oh, okay, I need insurance for my property or my rental property. But now you're like shopping around, trying to see how you can maybe cut some corners here and there. But, it's become a big part in factoring out your calculations now. It's really, affecting cash flow, I guess. And that's why a lot of people are having a hard time finding deals out there or trying to find markets where maybe it's a little bit easier to get insurance. And Dennis, I've
Agreed.
been
Yeah,
somewhat
insurance,
looking.
big factor. Also property taxes.
Well, you got to keep her happy, Dennis. He said, I've been somewhat looking into short-term rentals because it's the only thing my wife is somewhat interested in when it comes to real estate. Yeah, and I'm not sure what her situation is, but a lot of people, the spouse gets the real estate professional status, or even if you're doing short-term rentals, you can use that a lot for your tax advantage also, right? I know. So Dennis, you were talking about that in school community, but that could be some way to take advantage of the short-term rental loophole. Let's see, direct booking. Yeah. So you have a page, Matt? You guys have a direct booking page?
Yeah. So what I was sharing with Dennis is our property management software has an option where it's pretty easy to sync or create a new direct booking website. I would say the pros and cons. The pro is that, for someone like me, not really a kind of software engineer or in tune with creating like, a WordPress website, it's a very simple way to integrate with a few presses of a button how to create that direct booking website. The con is you don't own that domain as if I were to create a domain, through any like kind of WordPress website to kind of build that, I guess, what do they call it? No, not CRM, but what am I thinking of? SEO, search engine optimization. So you don't really have too much of that since you're reliant upon that direct booking, I guess, link that is really provided by your property management software. So there's kind of pros and cons. It depends maybe kind of what the goal or direction you want to be in for your business.
Do you feel like it's better to have the link for like repeat stays?
Yeah. So like what we'll do is for repeat stays, we'll try to get their like kind of opt in for an email, and then through that email, we'll send we have an automated formatted template that sends 7 days out. That's saying, hey, we hope you enjoyed your stay. If you ever want to consider coming back to the New Orleans area, you can use this coupon code, and we do like 5-star guest or like one of the kind of like catchy little coupon codes, and you can save not only like I think we did it's like $100 off your booking, but then you can also save on the booking platform tax free in fees as well. So there's certainly ways to kind of cater that a little bit to your business and your customers' needs.
Really smart. I'm gonna look to implement that in the next couple of weeks for my Airbnb.
Definitely, yeah. And I'm pretty sure I got this idea from somebody a lot smarter than me, so I don't want to take any of the credit. So right, just passing it forward.
Who's staying in Airbnbs for the Vegas event? Or do you think you're going to stay in an Airbnb, or what's your plans?
No plans yet. Last time I stood by a hotel that was pretty close. But yeah, if there's a joint Airbnb everyone wants to get in on, I'm interested.
She's like, it's the Caesar's Palace.
I know everyone is
Nothing
still trying to
crazy.
figure it out. So your webinar next week, Ariel, is going to talk about other like tools and data sources you're using as part of finding these lead generation for the return to work or return to office.
Yeah, exactly. So going through like the workflow a little more in depth so that if you wanted to replicate it or bring in someone into your team that has the skills to do so, you could. And just also mention a little bit more about other alternative leads lists that are available. Like I was speaking to
That's what I like. I
someone,
mean,
yeah.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, my Wi-Fi is a little bit laggy, but I spoke to someone recently. His name is Pablo, and his company is called LSP Investments, and he scrapes like code violations throughout the different cities across the US. So it's crazy because if you're driving for dollars like on Google virtually, you'll see this house looks like pretty nice, but then a code violation maybe like 30 days ago of like high grass and a neighbor takes a photo of it is a lot more like recent. And he's able to gather that data and help as like more of a leading indicator that maybe someone's in distress, whereas you might not see them on a list yet.
Right.
So
There's
things
kind of
like
that
that we'll mention.
delay. Nice.
Yeah.
Count me in for that catch up, Matt. Yeah, Stan.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we gotta grab coffee for the New Orleans folks down here. Every once in a while, a little meetup doesn't hurt.
That's pretty. You can probably go down there too, Ariel, right? You can meet up with them. It's not too far for you.
Yeah. Well, like a 10, 11 hour drive, but
It's a lot farther
No
than
drive.
it seems driving across the Panhandle.
Well, drive, yeah, but how long does it take to fly there?
oh, it's probably, yeah, like an hour and a half. Super quick.
Oh, yeah,
Love New
see?
Orleans.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful city.
We were because we were going to fly to Tampa this weekend. Spirit round trip, $76. That cheap. Granted, maybe Spirit might be having bankruptcy, but we should, until then, it's
Did you
super
hear?
affordable.
Yeah, did you hear that spirit? How like they're trying to play now, not in the luxury space, but like not in the budget space anymore. So you could like book the seat next to you, have more empty, yeah, empty row,
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, they're trying to create these kind of tiers, like a good, better, best tier, like a little bit more luxury. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I don't know. We'll see if it works out. I mean, if they're definitely filing for bankruptcy, or if that does come true, right? Then they're trying to pivot some direction, right? Like their current business model is not sustainable, so it'll be interesting. But for
Yeah, I
now,
wonder what.
I was gonna
I
say, for
wonder
now,
why.
those flights are cheap.
Yeah, glad you're able to jump on it. But I wonder why like the merger with um I think it was Frontier didn't work out and the merger with JetBlue didn't work out. It's like
Yeah,
something in their
they
back end is
saw.
probably really messed up.
Yeah, they saw their financials and they're like, okay, hold on.
Exactly.
My ticket was $1,000 for a round trip, Southwest. Not, I mean, better than I thought. Let's see. Then it
And I imagine it's just
says
nonstop,
Spirit.
correct?
Oh, Ariel, are you in? Oh, you're not in Tampa right now, but you're in Tampa, right?
Yeah, I'm in today I'm in what's it called? Coral Springs, Florida. It's the other side of the state.
Sorry, my thing is lagging now. Everything I'm trying to share is not popping up. Because Trade Better says, Matt, as a pilot, would you trust Spirit's Boeing planes and maintenance?
Wow, they've gotten a lot of heat for their QA or quality assurance processes. So yeah, that doesn't make you sleep well at night when you hear that. you know. So the cool thing about aviation, the Coast Guard, is that the maintainers, the mechs that are doing the maintenance, are the ones actually flying. So there is that vested interest in taking pride in your job. Whereas I'm not sure if that's so much the case as these companies get a little bit bigger, a little bit larger. So yeah, I don't know. That doesn't look good. It's not a good trend.
And Ariel, so also
Spirit.
talking about your webinar coming up, you also Amazon Prime Day, right? Today. Is that what, Amazon Prime Day? You
Oh,
also have
I
your
think
book
so.
for is it still
Yes.
pre-sale on
Oh,
Amazon?
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, the data-driven investor's guide to real estate.
I don't know if that link still works.
Oh, wow, very
Let
very
me see
cool.
if I can
How
find the link.
published through Amazon? How did you want to talk about kind of going through that process or not yet?
Yeah, sure. Self-published. Honestly, a big help was ChatGPT, not to create the content, of course, but to just like kind of streamline what are the steps to take. So
Oh,
I was
nice.
like, all right, even if I have, something that I want to put out there, like a guideline, like I don't even know the first step of having to self-publish or how that works. But I kind of went back and forth with it, like, what do I need? Said you need a cover, go to Fiverr to get a cover. So I was able to do that. Um, I was able to do like the whole entire book publishing for under 1,000, which is like pretty awesome.
Nice.
Like when you have a book that you want to publish, you have to have it in like certain format that it could be friendly for like go like Kindle as well. So that's also something on Fiverr that you can get done. Someone to just like format your
Also
manuscript.
something on Fiverr that you
Um,
can get done. Someone to just like format your.
There's that technical guru Mark over there.
No worries at all. But yeah, I encourage anyone who ever has
Oh,
an
what do you
aspiration to write a
know?
book, whether it's children's book or anything, now's the time to do it. A lot of tools are available for low
Yeah.
cost today to be able to do it.
Wow. Yeah, that's
For
that's
low
such
cost
a
today to
that's
be
a
able
cool
to do it.
project, Ariel.
Wow. Yeah, that's
I like that.
Yeah, Matt, you're gonna have to do a book on short-term rentals.
Ned is finally here.
Yeah.
I had to make a new profile.
What happened, man? How come you got? Oh,
I don't know, man.
see,
It
what happened?
it said I had to verify that my Google profile or something like that. But then when I would click on it, it would say you need to do that through Google. I don't know. I don't understand what was going on. I just made a new profile. Sorry about that.
Great to see you, Ned.
Yeah, man, what you been working on? It's been a while.
It has been a minute. The property market here locally is dead. I've got 2 properties for sale and I've only had maybe 15 showings. So
This is the one in Algiers.
that one's had 7 or 8 showings, and then the other one has had 7 or 8 showings. So
Jeez, yeah. What do you think we need? Interest rates to come down more, less hurricanes to come over our area, mix of the two.
I don't think people care about interest rates here at all. The insurance is more expensive. So at least I'm noticing that. Although my rates came down this year, one of my properties went from I just renewed yesterday from 22,000 down to 17,000.
Gee, that's a good significant
Big
savings.
drop.
Same coverage. So, which is weird because it was the same company trying to keep the business. I didn't understand that.
Thank you.
Yep. Trade better. Oh yeah, it's Stan's here. Stan has his book on Amazon too. I don't know if I have the link still yet, but if you're there, Stan, you can put it in the chat. Today's Amazon Prime Day, so people can go check it out. What do you think about the return to office, Ned? Because that was kind of the main topic. Ariel was doing that for like lead generation. What's your thoughts on that?
You mean as far as finding properties, or as far as like just what about the topic? I mean, I feel like locally it's already so hard to find what I would
that's
consider
kind
a
of
good
what she was
deal
doing.
without constraining it. I was saying I feel like at least locally here, I feel like if you try to constrain finding a good deal even more so, I don't know that filtering even more would be beneficial, at least in our market, because of how messed up stuff is from insurance. I can see how that would make sense if you're trying to capture or figure out maybe off-market deals in cities that grew a lot from the displacement of workforce and stuff like that. But I don't see locally how that would personally help me, or I don't know, unless Matt sees something different locally that I'm not seeing.
No, I think just rising inventory because just not too much is moving off the
No,
shelves.
quite a bit, Ned. But I found Ariel's Amazon link for her book, so go pre-order it and go check it out. Today's Amazon Prime Day, so go get a discount maybe.
Yeah, and look at that, $2.99. What is there? Is there a the percentage that they take back, I guess, or kick back from Amazon? Is it significant? Is it over 50?
It's less than 50. I forget
Less
the
than
exact
50.
number.
That's good.
But yeah, the recommended is when it's pre-order to do it at like $2.99 before, and then like when you release to have like the regular rate.
Gotcha. Oh, see, look at that. Good to know.
But yeah, going back to the return to office stuff. So, like my firsthand experience is that I commuted to New York for about 5 years, commuting in and out, done bus, train, all of it, and a lot of my coworkers, friends, family that also did the same. They mostly lived in like northern New Jersey, so it was an easier commute. But during 2020 to 2022, I would say probably 95% of them left, with a lot of them leaving to like South Jersey. So towns like Tom's River, close to Atlantic City as well, thinking that they wouldn't have to really have these long commutes anymore. But now with the return to office, like one of them works for Prudential, which could be like a 2-hour drive to get to in Newark. So it's not even in New York. It's still in New Jersey, but it's very far. So I think like those individuals could be at least people who are commuting to large cities like New York City, Seattle, DC, where there's heavy amount of traffic, I think would have the most opportunity for the return to office and layoffs, of looking at those lists. But yeah, I could see for like more rural areas or areas that don't have like that large of companies with big presences and heavy traffic, where it wouldn't be as relevant.
I just put Ned's channel also in the chat. I haven't seen anything from Ned in a while though. But have you put anything out recently, Ned?
I have not made anything recently. I've been actually there's been a lot going on at work, so
Yeah, he's the real time work is taking his attention.
yeah. So.
Hey, what are you saying? I don't have anything to do at work? No. No, it's been hard to find time. But yeah, I put everyone's channel in the comments. I even got Janitor on Fire's postal nerds channel. Go check it out. Everyone's growing. Ariel's one. What are you? You're not 20,000 subscribers yet, yeah? You're at like between 10 and 15 somewhere, yeah?
Yeah, close to 13. It's interesting because when I first started my channel in 2020, like it was so stagnant. I was like, why am I creating videos all the time? Like no one's watching them. But then the interest really like popped after ChatGPT. Not even that I was creating a bunch of ChatGPT videos, but it like sparked the interest of a lot of people in real estate. Like, oh, technology is important, and I could use it in my business. So yeah, for anyone who is interested in starting YouTube or is in the journey, it is slow in the beginning, but you never know when it could pick up. So keep at it.
Yeah, I think I need to
Hey,
relocate my
Suleika's
studio
here.
to my house.
They were just on what I think they're on their 8th house hack, Suleika and Jeff. But they're gonna be speaking I think on Sunday at the ORAD event. So they'll be one of the speakers, one of the first speakers. But where's I haven't let me put their channel also out there. Yeah, they're gonna be one of the
After
speakers,
8,
man.
that is some sacrifice.
I had dinner with them at the last
I think
ORAD
they're-
event.
Like at the outside of the dinner at the blind center.
Yeah, we went. We were in search of
Or
one of
out.
those famous Vegas buffets. So we found one, and it was okay, and it was
Oh.
very expensive.
There's one that Sam Farrell always goes to, he said, when he's in Vegas. So that's the one that I forget where it was at, but he had to go there, he said. So I know one day he went, so he'll probably go there again. But, Esther said, Seattle traffic. Yeah, I'm kind of lucky. I work like 5 minutes from my fire station, so I don't travel outside of my area too much. That's why I don't know how people do it every day. Oh, let's see here.
You got to find a good podcast to listen
There's a
to
question
or an
for
audio
her.
book.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad the Python notebooks could help.
And we're waiting for Trade Better's first video. It was supposed to have been out like 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure. I know he's busy, so I'm not sure when that's coming out. And then, yeah, Janitor. I watched Jeff White channel as well as Chris Lopez. They're really, yep, house hacking. Yep. Yeah, Janitor on Fire always sends me good stuff to check out. But Ned, did you make your accommodations yet for Vegas? Are you Airbnb-ing it, or what are you doing when you're there?
My wife really liked the was the Encore Hotel last year, and she was like, "All right, if we're going," or she said, "If I'm going to go again, we're staying there." And I was like, "Okay, sounds like that simplifies things a lot for me." So
There it is. Happy wife, happy life.
I do not play that game.
But you're staying at the Encore.
That's that. I mean, it's just simple, but
yeah, Ike says Seattle traffic. He hated it when he lived there. So Ike is in Kansas now. Yeah, Suleika says dinner was delish, but yeah, pricey. Yeah, a good podcast can help. Yeah, so go check out everyone's podcast. Go subscribe, help everyone out. What Lars has to say. I think for a lot of people, return to
recently
office
read,
would just force people to switch companies. Yeah.
I recently read Who Not How, and that was more helpful for real estate than my normal day-to-day business stuff. I really enjoyed that book.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, how was it helpful?
Let's
like,
check it out.
What was your big takeaways from it?
Well, just from a scaling perspective, when you first, at least I've noticed, most people that I work with locally are extremely hands-on when they begin, and then all the ones that I know that have reached the point to where they're trying to grow struggle with not being hands-on at a certain point. So I know a local Section 8 investor. I think he's got 30 units, but he does all of his own work. And whenever I'm like, well, you could have a plumber do that. And, when I'm saying bring in other professionals to do all these things, in his mind, he's like, well, it's going to cost more. I'm like, well, you can handle 10 times more units if you bring in and out and build a team. And he's just like, well, they might not do it right. And so in his mind, the constraint is his bandwidth, and he doesn't seem to. I can't get him to connect those dots. So I mean that's more of a mid-stage issue than a getting started issue, though. So
Do you think he got kind of like a bad, I guess, subcontractor or a bad experience in the past that's making him a little bit more hesitant to find those vendors, or he's not doing it himself?
he's extremely cautious. He doesn't have any debt, so he bought one unit at a time, and so he's always done everything himself. Doesn't like banks. Doesn't like like everything is constrained, which is fine. Like he doesn't need to work, and like his model has worked, but it took him 35 years to get there. He's an older guy.
Right.
So I don't see him personally changing, but I do see a lot of younger people I work with slowly falling towards that trap of this is how I'm going to do stuff, and not willing to be flexible and talk to people who've done things or done similar things, but just different ways.
Right.
I mean, I'm not ever going to be as good as a professional who does that thing.
So there's a
for a
question
living.
from Matt and
Well said. Yeah.
Matt and said, you thinking of looking at different markets because New Orleans is
Yes.
Yeah. I think for us, I mean, we're trying to still do the kind of lifestyle asset of a live and flip over here until 2027. So that's still on the table. But as we move on, as we move from this area, we're certainly open to at least in that Pensacola area for sure. But for now, yeah, it is slow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shifting further inland so that the flooding isn't necessarily as much of an issue as y'all were talking about earlier. Wind is still an issue, even if you're far enough inland. And then water's not as much of an issue in New Orleans as long as the pumps still work. But trusting New Orleans to keep something under good repair is
Dangerous game.
I'm not a big I'm not a big patron of the casino, but it's a different form right there. Yeah, so I'm looking more inland at the Hammond and just between Hammond and Covington. Everything north of I-12 is kind of past where the insurance goes exponential. Or at least I thought, because a couple other investors I know, their insurance has started to go up outside of that risk zone. So I think they're raising rates around the New Orleans area to try and offset their losses in New Orleans. So I'm not sure.
Yeah. Interesting.
Let's see, Ariel, what did you call it again about the people applying for different positions? They're getting fed up with the return to work
So
mandates or at their current.
yeah, it's called rage applying. So you could look it up, like Amazon employees rage applying to other roles. And I think Lars makes a fair statement here, where people can switch a company a year or two later, but we are in a different environment right now. Like I, just recently left my W-2 job in January, and when we put out software engineer roles and data scientists, I mean, within 2 days there was 100+ applicants. Like we're in a time period where you're competing against so many different applicants. And if you want remote work, you're definitely getting paid less. So these individuals who maybe thought they could switch roles, in 4 weeks, it's probably going to take them months of searching. And if they're at like a prestigious company, like, Salesforce, Amazon, JP Morgan, they may not want to go, and leave for a lower paying job at a company that's not known. So really, like, the pain could take, and I would say anywhere from 3 months to a year to find a new role.
One thing that I think that a lot of people, specifically in tech, are ignoring is there's an extreme hunger in this medium to small business area that a lot of people in tech are ignoring, but the jobs just seem too boring. So, for example, if you're in software, you could probably get a raise if you went to something like an insurance company. Hey, I'm gonna go work in an insurance company. I'm gonna move to, let's say you came and worked for us in New Orleans, or found someone in the Midwest, and you're just not in as sexy of an area and you're doing boring work. That's an easy way to get a huge raise if you're in those particular industries. But I mean, a lot of talent in Silicon Valley, at least from our industry's perspective, is very picky about the kind of work that they want to do. And we're kind of like, all right, well, that's up to y'all. So I don't feel bad for him.
How has the artificial intelligence reach? Is that
We don't use it at all.
You don't use it at all?
No.
Do you foresee that in the future, or?
Yeah, I mean, probably in like the data sets aren't big enough in boutique risks. In something like auto insurance, where you have millions and millions of data points, sure. But as far as trying to figure out the rates, or how to figure out the risk on highway construction, or guys on an oil rig, there's just not enough people. And then the variance with weather and all that other stuff, there's just, I mean, maybe over a long enough time, but the problem is even if your data set's right, the legal environment can change, and that will change what the risk profile is. So I don't know if there's enough data for it to make as big of an impact in our industry as others.
Gotcha.
Now, it'll probably make it to where we can scale with the same number of people a lot more. So maybe we can write 4 times as much business with the same personnel. But I don't know that you can remove the human element of understanding the risk because of how unique stuff is. If that makes sense.
Super interesting.
So let's help out Darryl, Janitor on Fire. He's asking for more content for his YouTube channel. So if anyone's out there, can you guys get some local footage of your local post office? And maybe if you can, do a short video walkthrough and send it to him of your area. But that would be pretty cool, I think.
What kind of footage? Like, as far as like post offices that are for sale? I know there's like I don't know the ticker, but there's a ticker on the stock exchange where it's just, I think it's a post office REIT.
No kidding.
Yeah, I think so.
No, he just kind of walks through them, talks about them, maybe the history of it, if there's something unique about it. But yeah, so if you ever, you go drop off mail or something, go pick something, go make a quick recording, or even take some photos that he can use and show the post office in your area, maybe.
Have to get a camera or a body cam on my father-in-law. He works at the post office in Ithaca, New York.
What do y'all think of those weird Ray-Bans with the cameras on them? My wife, I found out, was potentially going to gift me those for like blogging or whatever. We walk around in like a property, and I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna wear a Ray-Ban. So I have to like click a button, and there's like cameras on both sides. So
I think actually that's a good purpose though, because right, you have both hands free.
Yeah, property walkthroughs may be interesting. Like, it just seems weird to have like my head be the camera.
I could see some. I think I would see some something productive out of that.
Yeah, it's true. She could write off my gift.
Stan has a great question. Do you think the job market for tech workers has become flooding since there was such a large rush of students studying for that field in the last decade.
No. And it's for the same reason I brought up earlier. I think there's a lot of smaller businesses. Like, sure, I think Silicon Valley's flooded, so those wages might come down. But I think most of the talent's going to chase the super high wages there. But there's so many mom and pop restaurants and mechanic shops and things like that that don't even have like a basic website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's just so much low hanging fruit. I can't imagine.
Right, like
that,
bringing the
yeah.
tech and marketing to blue collar jobs.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to make a bunch of money, like just someone who knows how to write basic software or run websites and stuff like that can go and partner with a plumber. And I mean, talk about making a lot of money. I mean, you can just take the entire market share of a city like real quick, because like every mom and pop's not even online. So
I think when it comes to, at least I could talk to the data aspect. So with data analysts, data scientists, it's a little bit saturated in terms, like there's a lot of people who have that skill set. But for those who are interested to get into it, like the way to stand out really is not just the tech skills, but communication. I can't tell you how many people that have, I've either worked with or loosely worked with who they can be very technically like inept and everything, but when it comes to just being able to talk to business folks, like completely lose the whole like main point. Not able to tease out problems, not able to think of solutions based upon like actual issues. Just so if you're looking to get into that field to stand out, really work on your communication skills and how to, bridge everything together, almost like a consultant, not just the technical aspect.
Yeah.
We have the
Suleika,
weird
PTO for Life
advantage
City,
in
more
the,
content is in the works.
We have the weird advantage in the insurance market where we actually own our own software development company. So we've got, I don't know, I think 14 developers. So we can actually hire a lot of that talent you're talking about that is not necessarily going to be great at communicating to the average executive what it is they do. But we have our own team that knows how to speak. I guess let's just speak nerd, but also speak finance.
Yeah, that's excellent. Domain expertise as well. And yeah, not that everyone tech needs to be, high communicators, but if you are trying to do a data science role, like you need to be the consultant in the room, not the back end person. Then in that case, go for data engineering instead, possibly.
Yeah, good skill set is, can you translate between the two teams? If you can do that, you can make a lot of money.
Yep.
All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about today? Any other topics? I'm getting a lot of fake news messages sent to me. Like I think I posted something about inflation and Bidenomics, and somebody direct messaged me saying that's fake news and stuff. I'm like, okay, but
Fake news for some, not for all.
Negative people out there, man.
I just try not to follow the news.
I said, is it higher? Is it higher?
You just listen to the.
Yeah.
If you just listen to what people say in the office every couple of days, you're caught up as much as you need to be, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes. Very, very nice. The water cooler investors. There it is.
The details might not be right, but the gist is.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. Totally agree with that. Yeah, I don't know. So what else you guys doing? Ned, Matt, and Stan? You guys gonna do anything? Let's see.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope so. I was supposed to catch up with Matt the other day, but I've just honestly I forgot to.
Life happens.
That was my bad.
Life happens. Work happens.
Yeah, I was still
Yeah,
waiting for
we'll have to find a
Jess to
time.
come on. We had her all lined
Grab some
up.
coffee.
Yeah,
Dude,
we had
just
Jess
7
all
weeks
lined up,
into
and
law
then
school.
what
A
happened?
lot. Dude,
No, but
just
what happened at that
lots of
time?
reading.
Wasn't there a hurricane or something happened, right? And we had to cancel, and then no, we had her lined up for an interview,
Yeah.
and then something canceled or power outage or something. And then
Yeah,
we'll
then
get
the
her back on.
flight
But
got delayed.
we
She was
need to
flying
get the
back.
talent of the
Yeah,
relationship back on. Oh, that's right.
that's true. I know.
But trade better area for data science roles you were applying to. Did you have a portfolio you showed off? I'm sure she
Not
did.
necessarily a portfolio, but I would show, like my GitHub account for at least like the recruiters and stuff. But yeah, in the interviews, just going really in detail about certain projects that I worked on. In the future, if there is interest, I could do a whole like live stream or mini series on how to get a job in data science. As I've, been able to kind of crack the code of working for a lot of companies and how to nail your interview down. But yeah, definitely still roles available. Just try to have a portfolio if you can today. Probably need one, like something on GitHub or the Medium, and then also be able to show off like your communication skills too. And also, Mark, we have
Canada on Fire says he'll be glad when the election is over.
exciting event
Yes.
tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow. I was just going to talk about that. I think it's
Oh, my,
11:30 Eastern. Yeah, we'll be on talking about buy boxes. So anybody who wants to learn more about Pittsburgh and wants to get involved there, check it out tomorrow, and we should be a lot.
I feel like the election really slowed down the market around here. It
Anything else
seems
you guys
like
want to talk?
everyone more or less is worried the world's going to end on both sides. So at least half the buyers, I think, will free up at some point in the next month or so.
Yeah, I know. All that uncertainty is making people hesitant, which understandable.
Are you seeing that in Florida or Hawaii? Is it you think that the election, just uncertainty and volatility within the news, has kind of affected the way the market would normally work?
yeah, I can't back that with data, but just from like kind of perusing on Facebook groups and things like that, there seems to be like a hesitation to wanting to wait until the elections.
Yeah. Hyder says Bidenomics is just talking points as economics lasts way longer than any political lifespan. Very true. Stan will be in town Monday and Tuesday. And
I've always wondered how long the lag truly is. Like, are we feeling the effects of Trump now or Biden now, or is it still Obama? Like, how far back does it actually go?
Depends. It depends who you ask.
Sure, but I mean, the data has to show, or maybe there's just too many moving parts, and each different part has a different piece of the lag of the total impact. Because I'm sure it's blended to some degree, but it would be interesting to actually be able to figure that out. And I know there's probably too many variables to even start trying to filter out a good answer to that, but it'd be interesting to see how, and then the Fed on top of that. So, yeah.
Time will tell. Time will tell.
we can dig into that next. I don't know if we, but yeah, this is always really slow transaction wise. I think it's definitely, people are just sitting on the sidelines, and just rates have a big impact when the median price is $1 million. So is definitely affecting the market in a sense. I mean, prices are still high. I mean, the prices haven't come down. It's just transactions have very much tanked.
Well, here's a question for y'all. So my buddy John and I are both we're both realtors, but I have my license under him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you can just lower price now," and I'm kind of like, "Well, wouldn't it make more sense to wait until after the election?" I feel like everything is down right now, so I've been listed for maybe a month now and haven't lowered my price. In my situation, would y'all wait till after the election, or would you try to get ahead of it? Or you think if you get ahead of it, then people will like want to play that out?
Yeah, that one's interesting. I don't know. It's tough, man.
Yeah,
It's tough. Because if I were in a buyer's shoes, that's something that's probably in the back of my mind is that hesitation of the uncertainty. And then if depending on what type of buyer I was, how in tune I was with the whole, rate cut cycle. And then I'm like, wait, rates are going to be lower in 2 months. Why don't I just wait 2 months? And then it's like, I don't know. A couple points, but I trust your gut. Trust your gut on this one.
Oh, Lars has he says, I would take it down until after election posted. Yeah,
that's one way to bother my realtor.
People are kind of not. Trade Better says he's seen rent prices go up in his area, not what he'd expect. Yeah. Like Hyder, well, going back to what Hyder said, economic forces come from you and me, not any politician or aggregate of politicians. I think that's true, but at the same time, it's also kind of just the set of what you're getting from these politicians or kind of the direction that they're pointing out, right? It's kind of how you're going to react, not really react, but just the vibe that you're getting from them, right? Like right now, I think the country is just so divided, right? There's just, like we're talking about uncertainty, right? And I think that's affecting a lot of people in the markets and what they're going to do. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else you guys want to dig into? We can wrap things up. Anything fun going on for you guys? I mean, what's your plan? I mean, you're going to be evacuated for a while?
Yeah, probably I would say till like Sunday. So I'm like right in the middle. I'm in an apartment building in Tampa. So I technically like could have stood, but I don't want to be without power for like 4 or 5 days since I was zone B. So yeah, gonna ride it out in Coral Springs to make sure I have Wi-Fi, power, able to get to places, and yeah, hopefully this weekend head back.
Starlink or just
I thought about it actually getting Starlink. That probably next time around I'll need that and maybe go somewhere with a generator so I can stay local. But yeah, I'm super excited tomorrow, Mark, to dive into the buy box and how you look at properties too.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, it was crazy during that.
Ned?
During the last smaller hurricane we had that came through, I can't remember the name of it. It's category 2. I don't remember. Maybe it's a 3. But our Starlink, we were watching Game of Thrones at midnight, like in the middle of the eye of the hurricane. And I remember walking out, walking the dogs when the rain was just going sideways. And I'm just standing there. I'm looking up at the Starlink, which is like wiggling, and we still have no latency issues.
Amazing.
And which I was super impressed. And I was just thinking, if I took a photo of this right now and tweeted it, and also tweeted my internet speed, I feel like Elon would retweet this. and I didn't do it because I was just getting
Oh.
You should
drenched.
try.
So,
Next time, next opportunity arises, you might have to
Next
do
time.
that.
so
Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, stay safe, Ariel. Hopefully it's not too bad.
Thank you.
Get back home.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
but I
stay
brought that up
safe.
to
I
say
see
that
sister
Starlink
land
works really well in
investors.
hurricanes.
Yeah, I want to look into Starlink. But yeah, Sister Land Investors has stopped by from some channel. So I'm not sure who they follow or whose channel they're coming from. But I see it in the comments. So thank you,
Mine,
Sister Land
probably
Investors, for
Elizabeth.
stopping by. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Well, thank you for stopping by. BuzzTune, hey, BuzzTune just woke up, I guarantee. But thanks for the super chat, man. Yep, Hyder, politicians do affect the economy, but spending or saving has more influence. Very true. But yeah, thanks. If you're free, check out me and Ariel tomorrow morning, 11:30 Eastern, and we'll do this again next week. So thanks, everyone. Stay safe out there.
Yeah, appreciate it.